Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. Welcome to our digital space. I want to wish everyone a happy Father's Day today. So lovely to be here with you all. Let's start off the service with a little music, shall we? There were places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some for better, not for better. Some have gone and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall some are dead and some are living in my life. I love them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compared with you. These memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them, but in my life, I love you more. No, I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them, but in my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Good morning, James.
Good morning, Keith.
How's your Sunday morning going?
You know what? It's great. It's sunny. It's early. I love it.
Good, I love it. Well, what a beautiful song to start off our morning.
Thank you.
Yes, and you're awake and ready to share your beautiful music with us today.
More awake than usual.
Well, I'm saying that in the context of I know you were out doing a wedding last night, so you were up late. So
Indeed.
happy to have you here with us this morning at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
So, everyone, please let's give a warm welcome to James Harper, our guest musician this morning, who's also working as our music director today, and for bringing us into our morning space with such a beautiful song and with great lyrics and just such a great welcoming and loving energy. James, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you throughout our service this morning.
Sounds great.
Right. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here on this day, Sunday, June 20th, in the year 2021, as we come together for our Sunday celebration service. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I'm the spiritual leader, is my term here for our community. It's a real pleasure to have you join us, whether it's live via Zoom and or live via Facebook, or at a later date watching us through our YouTube channel and or through our various different formats, which would be our app in the App Store or our website. A big hello to you and a big honoring to you of who you are and who you are as an individualization of the one thing that exists. We call that spirit, life, the thing itself, or God here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And in that vein, we just want to honor you. We also want to take a moment and acknowledge all fathers. Today is Father's Day. I will be speaking on that in a little bit. And if you are a father, let's just say a big hello to you and to thank you for being a father. And if you have a father or had a father. Let's take a moment and honor them, whether it's biological or spiritual or father figure. So let's just take a moment and acknowledge and honor them. And so we're a community that has come together now for well over 30 years here in the land of Los Angeles. I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen to take us through our beginning of the morning to acknowledge where we're at and what we're doing today. And as I said before, we are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I am Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, the spiritual leader, as I've already stated. Our vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so, a big hello once again to all of you. And we open our service each and every Sunday morning as we continue in this month of June through the act of namaste. Namaste is the literal meaning, as the Sanskrit word tells us, is I bow to you. It's a greeting, it's an acknowledgement, it's an honoring from one being of light to another being of light. And I'd like for us to begin our service this morning as we do that. The illuminated graphic on the screen shows us that it's that place right here that is called the third eye in Eastern philosophy, where intuition and wisdom exists, that we do the act of bowing as we place our hands together on our heart and bend forward, bowing with acknowledgement of the divine, the light, the life, the power, the essence of all in me honors that very and same thing within you. And so together, let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. And so we're a community that has come together, as I said before, for a little over 30 years. We were originally known as the Church of Religious Science and then Los Angeles Church of Religious Science. And in our current incarnation, we're known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're a community that practices and teaches and engages in the philosophy and faith and way of life known as the science of mind primarily. We look at other metaphysicals and Eastern philosophies, looking at Christianity occasionally from its purest form, all for the intention and the purpose and the context of reminding us who we are as individualizations walking this planet, that we're all connected to and expressions of this one thing, this one mind, this one life, and that you and I both experience and express this mind, this life, this thing itself, through our thinking, our actions, our beliefs, our reactions, and our interactions with the very thing itself. And as we each do that individually and do that collectively, we move in our mind either into an evolving state of knowing who we are as divine beings or a devolving state of who we are as a divine being. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, we get to experience our consciousness, this awareness of who and what we are in physical form, because the universe is governed by spiritual law, just like the physical universe is governed by physical law. All of that brings us down to the focal point of we're here to make a difference as we navigate this humanly plane of existence, expressing our spiritual nature. And so we do that as a community here, known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, by engaging in our vision statement, which is the journey, honoring those on their journey of finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so today, as we look at Father's Day in a new way, as we come together in a new way in this virtual space, this home of technology, to open ourselves up to be awakened spiritually in a new way. Ultimately, as we do that for the purpose of becoming more personally self-empowered. What that means is that we become more assured and sure of who we are as divine beings, letting that then lend flavor, if you will, to our humanity. And so then giving us the opportunity to show up in a new way each and every day, reflecting our divine nature and then giving that back out into the universe as a gift, a blessing that we have with each and every thought and action and reaction and interaction with life to share our good, our awareness with life itself. And so we open our service with a ritual. This ritual is called calling in the light. And so this morning, as we call in the light, I invite each one of us, no matter how we're connecting to each other today, that as we look at that flickering flame and the purple orb on the screen, that we not only see the light of the divine that exists within each one of us, but we bring into our mind's eye that same light that existed or exists in that father or father figure in our life. Remembering that it was the same light that existed in their father and their father. And the ancestry goes on and on and on. And so as we take a moment to separate ourselves from the emotion that we may have in regards to the expression in human form of that individual and those preceding individuals, let's just bring into our awareness just that light of life that exists or existed within them. And we approach our ritual this morning from that new perspective, calling in the light. And so today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Remembering that this is true for each and every one of those individuals, the father of the father of the fathers of the fathers that I spoke of a moment ago. And so the purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness, that interconnectedness, and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. And so as we feel the vibrations shift during this experience and this recollection and remembrance, may we become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life, which includes you and me and our fathers and their fathers and the forefathers and all beings of light that have ruminated and emanated this patriarchal energy in life. And let's begin to wrap them in a cloak of gratitude. Our affirmation this morning is in regards to gratitude. And it's this: gratitude has a way of changing your perspective and leaves you open to receiving the blessings that are within each day. Today, that very blessing is the expression of life that is called you and that is called me. That is the offshoot, the outcropping of our Father. And so, let's accept the love, not necessarily the human emotion, but the love, the self-givingness of spirit that was given to us by our Father, biologically first and foremost. Let's receive the blessings that came from this gift and may continue to do so as we open our heart and our mind. And let's remember to believe that good exists as a result of these blessings that have been shared with us and the opportunity that we have to continue to propagate them as we choose to be grateful For gratitude as a way of changing our perspective and leaves us open to receive the blessings that are within each day. For we are here and we are alive. And so as we change these vibrations by continuing our ritual and singing the song together of calling in the light, James will take us through this song, and the lyrics are available for us to sing.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Sing with me. I am love, I am peace in my heart, I am free, I am spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is. And so let's just take a moment and honor the shift that has transpired by saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is. And thank you to each one of you. And thank you, James, for guiding us with that beautiful rendition of Calling in the Light. There you are. I was going to say I'm going to invite you back to the screen. Hello.
We back.
Welcome back. You back. You back. So, James, I know you have two beautiful songs for us this morning, not to mention the others you've already performed. And so tell us about the first song you're going to sing for us this morning, please.
So this is actually one of my favorite songs of all time. It's called "Stop This Train," and it's just a beautiful take on maybe not wanting time to pass so quickly, but then accepting that it is so. And there's a cool verse about a conversation with a father in here that I thought was very pertinent for today.
Fabulous. Well, everyone, let's enjoy James's rendition of the song.
Hope you enjoy. No, I'm not colorblind. I know the world is black and white. Trying to keep an open mind, I just can't sleep on this tonight. Stop this train, I wanna get off and go home again. Can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can, but honestly, won't someone stop this train? Don't know how else to say it. Don't wanna see my parents go. One generation's length away from fighting life out on my own. stop this train. Wanna get off and go home again. I can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can't, but honestly, won't someone stop this train? So scared of getting older, I'm only good at being young. So I play the numbers game to find a way to say that life has just begun. Had a talk with my old man, said help me understand. He said turn 68, you renegotiate. Don't stop this train, don't for a minute change the place you're in. Don't think I couldn't ever understand. I tried my hand, James, honestly, you'll never stop this train. And once in a while, when it's good, it'll feel like it should. And they're all still around, and you're still safe and sound. And you don't miss a thing till you cry when you're driving away in the dark, singing, stop this train. I wanna get off and go home again. Can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can, but now I see we'll never stop this train.
Ah, I love it. Such wisdom in those lyrics.
Truth in so
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah, and I love how it says you'll never stop the train, right? But it's about embracing the journey
Right. And being happy with where you're at.
and being happy with where you're at. That's really what we teach here. So,
Amen.
absolutely.
And so it
Well,
is.
cool. Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I heard it anew this time. So thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, everyone, let's give James a huge round of applause. You can hear the applause thundering from beyond out in the ethers of the technology of the internet. So thank you, James. What a great springboard for our message this morning to um, be present where you are and to know that the wisdom of life exists there. And it may be expressing itself in a multitude of different ways in our life. I want to begin my Father's Day message today, sharing this with you. Some of you may have heard it before. I invite you to hear this anew. It's titled Two Little Boys. A couple had two little boys, ages 8 and 10, who were extremely mischievous. The two were always getting into trouble, and their parents could be assured that if any mischief occurred in their town, their two young sons were in some way involved. The parents were at their wits' end as to what to do about their son's behavior. The mother had heard that a clergyman in town had been successful in disciplining children in the past. So she asked her husband if he thought they should send the boys to speak with the clergyman. The husband said, "We might as well. We need to do something before I really lose my temper." The clergyman agreed to speak with the boys, but asked to see them individually. So the 8-year-old went to meet with him first. The clergyman set the boy down and asked him sternly, "Where is God?" The boy made no response whatsoever. So the clergyman repeated the question in an even sterner tone. Where is God? Again, the boy made no attempt to answer. So the clergyman raised his voice even more and shook his finger in the boy's face. Where is God? And at that point, the boy bolted from the room and ran directly home, slamming himself in the closet. His older brother followed him into the closet and asked him, What happened? The young brother looked at him and replied, Oh man, we're in big trouble this time. God is missing, and they think we did it. Now, I'm trusting you're laughing out there in the ethers of space in relation to this cute little story. This little story came up for me in preparation for today because just last Friday, or Thursday, I think it was, I was at the park with my beloved spiritual offspring, Sweeney, and a friend of mine. And as we walked in, there was this adorable young family there. The parents appeared to be maybe in their 30s, and they had two little boys, much younger than the two in the story. The older boy, who was fours, named Messiah, big name to live up to in life, and his younger brother, who was probably two and a half, named Ashton. And these little boys were so sweet with Sweeney and the other couple of dogs that they were playing with. And they were both so eager to express their individuality and to play and to be untethered in this very sort of sacred space of the playground and the park, and where they could run and be in the grass, and the frivolity of where one would want children to play and have a good time. And the older boy, Messiah, was so inquisitive and wanting to learn and wanted me to teach him how to chuck the ball with the chuck it, and wanted to be very loving with Sweeney. And every time I would say to him, this is how you do something, and show it, he would absorb it right away. And then when he would do something that wasn't correct, I would say to him, well, no, that's not the right way. And his immediate response to me would be, why, and how? And as he said why and why, his father apologized for him saying why all the time. And I looked at his father and said, it's quite all right. He's actually reminding me of me, because I had a flashback of remembering being in the car with my father one Sunday evening as we were driving to church for our Sunday evening church service. And I kept asking why, as I always did. And my father pulled the car over in the off the road in a gas station. I can remember, I can't remember the name. I think it was Lyle's service station. And turned around and pointed his finger at me, and in a very stern voice said to me, why do you always have to ask questions? And in that moment, I remember my response, non-audible, was, well, why wouldn't I ask questions? But I also remember in that moment the sternness of his voice and the intent to oppress that uniqueness within me, and oppress that need, that yearning to step into an evolutionary way of thinking. We continued to play there at the park, and I kept trying to teach young Messiah how to do certain things, and his parents were getting very frustrated that he wasn't learning the way that they thought he should, or at the rapid pace that he should. And in an instant, his father screamed at him, Messiah, you need to listen to me. And within that moment, I witnessed that little boy, who could just as well have been me, shut down. And every beautiful element of this young child, who just seconds before had been living in this state of inquisitiveness, in this state of learning, of growing, of using his mind and his talents and abilities in a way to grow, had been stopped. And immediately he withdrew and turned inward, and his entire body language changed, and the entire energy of the environment changed. And even the father, you could tell, felt a bit of embarrassment for his behavior and his action in that moment. And so my buddy and I immediately changed the tenor of the environment. Like, it's okay, Messiah, we can play this in a different way. And there was no changing. There was no bringing that energy back that had been there. And as we parted ways, and my buddy and I both said, well, that was quite intense. I left there thinking of not only those two young boys in the environment that they lived in and the shame and embarrassment that was coming up for the father in that moment, but I also began to tune into where that man learned that behavior. And more than likely, his father behaved in that way. And it's this propagation of behaviors that continue in our lives that we've learned from those who have created patterns for us, that had had patterns created for them, and the ancestry goes on, unless we choose to stop and to do with the best of our ability to look at those patterns without judgment and to shift them. This quote that I have for this moment in my message is from H. Jackson Brown, and it's this: life doesn't come with an instruction book. Second part, I'm not so sure about because it says that's why we have fathers. Now, I certainly imagine and feel the intention of the energy behind that quote, that life doesn't come with an instruction book, that's why we have fathers. But the second part's not necessarily true because life just simply doesn't come with an instruction book. And one thing that I've learned over the years that, and I've learned to put in perspective of, imagine becoming a father in life without having an instruction book. Imagine becoming a father in life and not really knowing what to do, or even having the gift of self-awareness that one has the capacity and the opportunity to change the patterns that have been imprinted into your psyche and your soul and your circumstances. Today, I invite us to begin to view our Father from a new perspective, just simply because it's a new day, remembering that we never knew these circumstances or the situations or scenario that caused them or created that opportunity to propagate life in a way that brought forth the experience that is known as you and as me. Now, your life may have been one filled with joy and wonderment, and yet it also may have not been that case. And so today, I want us to begin to create a new framework around our Father and the fathers that came before them in a new way. To create a state of forgiveness, not necessarily forgetting, but a new state of forgiveness for whatever situation or scenario that may have been presented to us on the journey of our life, much like that particular father in the park the other day, or my dad, as I shared, or any transgressions that may have been placed upon us, or if we are fathers, which I am one, a father figure for sure, any that we may have created. The definition for a father is a man in relation to their child or children. Also, an important figure in the origin or the early history of something. So oftentimes that transpired once again without an instruction booklet. So let's all imagine what it would be like if just today, all of a sudden, you were responsible for a new life in your life. How would you show up? Some of us may not know the answer to that, and often the times there's going to be great joy and there's going to be great light, and there's also going to be the opportunity for the opposite. I love this little quote here called Talking, this little article, Talking is like ketchup. This woman, Carmen Mariano Braintree from Massachusetts, wrote this: I sat in my dad's living room reading one night while he watched television. An hour passed before I realized it, and I felt bad for not speaking during that time. I asked, Hey, Dad, are you okay? His reply was, Yes. And then I apologized to him for not talking more. Carmen, Dad replied, talking is like ketchup. If you like the meat enough, you don't need the ketchup. And if you like the company enough, you don't need the conversation. My dad never earned a college degree, she wrote, but he was the smartest person I ever knew. Now, the reason this speaks to me is it reminds me of one of the last encounters that I had with my dad. And it was after I had visited my parents in Georgia. And I'm not sharing this with you today before some moment of self revelation, of healing on my part. I'm sharing it with you so that my personal experience may create an opportunity for each of us to create this new perspective I'm speaking on in regards to the relation that we have with our father or father figures. And he had asked if he could drive me to the airport, and I reluctantly said yes. And at the time, I was probably 35 years old. What I remember so much about that drive to the airport was there were probably not four words exchanged. And as I departed the vehicle and walked through the airport, I kept asking myself, what was the purpose? And to be quite honest and frank with you, I didn't really realize the purpose until I read this quote. It was just simply the desire and the intention to be in the presence of someone that he loved. And at the time, I was not necessarily so welcoming for that. And so, what I've learned to learn and to know in a new way is that everyone shows up in life with the wisdom that they've been given as a divine being and may only know how to express it, or certainly only knows how to express it to the degree that they're aware of that and the tools that they have learned over the life of their life. Wisdom. We hear it oftentimes as a quality of the divine, one of the eight. It's that which is inherent within us. The traditional definition of wisdom is this: wisdom is the ability to think and act using knowledge, experience, understanding, common sense, and insight. Wisdom is associated with attributes such as unbiased judgment, compassion, experiential self-knowledge, self-trendance, and benevolence. And so today I invite us to open ourselves to the wisdom that exists within us, to honor the wisdom that exists and existed in those that came before us, that propagated in the opportunity for us to have life. Wisdom is also known as the knowledge of God and those that lived as God. Father's Day, which seems to be one of those Americanized holidays where we romanticize that representative figure in our life known as the Father. Our beloved Dr. Jim Lockhart, who many of you all know and have heard, wrote this today regarding Father's Day. He said, "Happy Father's Day." Well, it's an oxymoron for far too many. Everyone has a different relationship with their father, if they have one, or the father figures in their life, and it's likely a mixed bag of emotional experiences. He writes the photos below, once he has below, of the man who adopted me, the only father I have ever known, he writes. Much of my life has been spent and continues to be spent working out the nature and meaning of our relationship. It was good and bad, engaged and indifferent, happy and sad. In other words, it was rich with potential. What a great way to view the relationship with that individual or individuals in our life. It's rich with potential, as is every element and aspect and relationship and memory and perspective of life. He goes on to write, "I like to see today, Father's Day, as a recognition of positive masculinity, but not without recognizing the negative. So a few quotes, and here's one in particular. He says, "For now it seems that men's most pressing task is to learn what they can from each other about the masculine, if and wherever that may be learned. Similarly, women need to learn about being women from wise, older women." And I would say younger as well, when and wherever they may be found. And so today, as we continue this message, I would like for us to honor those individuals for whom we call Father. And I'm going to unmute us all for a second and give us the opportunity to all say their names out loud, to bring their energy of life into this focus, and then I will build from there. And so I'm going to ask you all to unmute right now, and feel free when I give you permission to say their names. And so let's take a moment and honor those that we love as the beloved that we call our Father by bringing their energy into this experience and saying their name. 1, 2, and 3.
William
Dwight
Dorsey,
Smith,
Thomas,
Henry
Charles
Unger,
Cox,
Thomas
Hudson
David
Sprague,
Walker,
Charles Allendorfer.
Johnny,
Steve Scholl.
William Dorsey,
Anyone else?
Thomas A. Hennessy.
And so let's all feel the energy of all of these individuals that we've brought into this sacred space today. Naveen Jain writes this: being a father has been without a doubt my greatest source of achievement, pride, and inspiration. Fatherhood has taught me about unconditional love, reinforced the importance of giving back, and taught me how to be a better person. Let's use the energy collectively of these names that we've placed into this sacred space today to also invite in that love, that unconditional love that was provided for us, even though at times we may have felt as if it was conditioned. Let's bring the energy of the wisdom of our elders and our ancestors, of our fathers, into this experience that taught us how to be a better person. One of the individuals that played this role for me in a block of time in my life, many of you knew. His name was David Walker. He was not my biological father. He was my spiritual father. And he certainly had the ability and the capacity, as I've spoken of before, to hold an idea for me of what was possible in my life that was greater than I could hold for myself. And for that, I thank him, because he, along with many others that did that, gave me the opportunity to be who I am today. Now, I didn't say that he caused me to be who I am today, but he helped provide that opportunity by holding that space. This past Friday evening, I was with a beloved soul brother of mine, you guys know, Reverend James Harper, and we were having dinner with a young man that we've known since he was 13. And this young man spent a good portion of the evening honoring and most graciously acknowledging the footprint, the imprint that James and I have had on his life in a father-like figure, of what we provided in giving back to him so that he had the opportunity, and still continues to do so, to live the life as enriched as he does today. And so one of the things I want to invite us into doing today is to ask ourselves, are we willing today to continue to provide a safe space for others in our life by creating a footprint, if you will, that they can fill of living as a conscious, awake, alert metaphysician? Can we look at masculinity in a way today that lets our guard down to not propagate and repeat the patterns of before? And in so doing, fine-tune our beliefs about what is possible in life and live from that perspective so as to break the chain of what was and to create opportunities of what can be. To take a moment today and in the days to come to continue to fine-tune our beliefs about what is possible in regards to fathering and the way that men show up in life. One of the things that I do on a daily basis in my life is I have on my iPhone a reminder to remind me to stop and to check in. And one of those reminders that shows up on a daily basis is this: my beliefs enhance my life. I learned about my beliefs from Dr. David Walker and many others. One of the great gifts that Dr. Walker gave me and many of you was that he was an old school metaphysician who believed at the very core of practicing metaphysics and life itself is that your beliefs are everything in life. Everything in life. And so you and I get to look at our beliefs today and ask ourselves, how are they showing up? A belief is defined as a conviction or a feeling of truth or of a proposition or a condition. A belief may go farther than the intellectual assent, while faith embodies a trust and confidence. You and I have the opportunity to continue to become what we believe. Now, the truth is we're becoming what we believe no matter whether we're aware of it or not. But as we choose to become more aware of our beliefs, then we can fine-tune them, ultimately participating in a creative process that changes the experience in life. This is called becoming aware of our consciousness. And so in this teaching, this ever-present state of mind that we're speaking of is indeed called consciousness. And so let's look at how our beliefs are potentially dynamic and alive today. To know that our beliefs are the magnet that creates our connection to each other, and that the bond of belief is indeed a universal force. And so as humans, we all seek to believe in ourselves, and most seek to believe in something greater than ourselves, for we want to revel in the glory of the connection between us and the power of the universe, and we do that through our beliefs. And so today, I want us all to begin to ask ourselves, as we honor that individual who planted the seed in the womb of creation so that we may be here, what seeds of belief are we willing to plant in the womb of creation as we move forward in life, of what is possible for life to begin to look different for those that are of the masculine persuasion, those that are fathering children out there today? Let's ask ourselves, what do I believe about fatherhood and masculinity? And is that really true, or am I willing to fine-tune that? And if not, if it isn't a propagation or a belief of good, where did this belief come from? One of the things that I've learned in life is that as I choose to fine-tune my beliefs in life, that I get to change them through the way that I'm thinking. And so do you. And that I can forgive those that have shown up in my life that have participated in a way that what I considered less than good. And to be thankful and grateful for the gifts and the blessings that were bestowed upon me. And that my greatest way of honoring those individuals is by choosing a new way of life, by choosing a new way of thinking, of choosing of a new way of providing for and giving to those who are coming after me. This great little quote speaks to this, that says, "Dad, we've battled some stormy seas, but know on this Father's Day, the only boat I ever want to be in is with you." I say that in the context of remembering the boat that day going to the airport. And in as much as I would love to have done that a bit different, I'm still deeply appreciative of the journey itself that I've shared with that particular man known as my father, and all others who were father figures in my life. That who was doing man to the best of their ability at the time. And so as I choose to do man and father to the best of my ability from this day forward, I invite us all to do the same as we continue on this journey of our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, tending to our thinking, our actions, our reactions, our interactions, ultimately leading to our consciousness, i.e. our beliefs. Dr. Ernest Holmes, in the 1926 Science of Mind text, writes about life and gender and masculinity and manliness in this way. He says, "Man, coming from unity, is both male and female, and has within himself both attributes of reality. In some, the male predominates, in others, the female. We have two distinct types in man and woman, but they are types of one fundamental principle. There's also an intermediate sex, that is, one in which the two attributes seem to be almost equally balanced. The greatest men and women of the ages have belonged to this type, for it's a more complete balance between the two, which are really one. But this is too great a topic to discuss in this particular course of lessons, he says. But it's not 1926. It's 2021. And we're aware today of the masculine and the feminine that exist within the human. And so today, let's invite both of those in a balanced way as we move forward, providing for, giving, and loving individuals, and choose to let love be the way as we both look back to what was and look forward to what is to come. Because love, in its purest form, not just as a belief, but building on it as a belief that it is the way to live life, is this continuation and propagation of the self-givingness of spirit, whose desires to create more of itself out of itself. You and I are the conduit for that. And so let's know that this is now locked into our being, signed, sealed, and delivered, ready to express itself in a new way. Thank you. And so it is. And so I'm going to welcome back to our service this morning James for his second song. Second guest song. It's actually his fourth song. And it is titled Signed, Sealed, Delivered, right, James?
Indeed.
All right, take it away.
If y'all know it at home, feel free to sing along. Like a fool, I went and stayed too long, and now I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Then the time I went and said goodbye, now I'm back and not ashamed to cry. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Here I am, baby. Whoa, you got the future in your hands. Here I am, baby. Whoa, got the future in your hands. Done a lot of foolish things that I really didn't mean. Ooh, yeah. Come on. Seen a lot of foolish things in this old world. When I touched them, they did nothing, girl, baby. Here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours, I'm yours. Oh, wait, baby, set my soul on fire. That's how I know you're my only one and desire. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Here I am, baby. Whoa, got the future in your hands. Here I am, baby. Oh, got the future in your hands. Done a lot of foolish things that I really didn't mean. I could be a broken man. Oh, yeah. Here I am, baby. You got the future in your hands. Here I am, baby. Whoa, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours, yeah, I'm yours. Here I am, baby. Said you got the future in your hands. Here I am, baby. Oh, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours, yeah, I'm yours. Done a lot of foolish things that I really didn't mean. I could be your broken man. Oh, yeah.
Oh, how fantastic, James Harper. I
Thank you
love it.
so much.
Say what?
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I love the energy. It's just fantastic. Yeah, I am, baby.
Whoa.
Yes, I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I'll give a shout out to James Harper. Yes, the one and only. Thank you, James. So a huge thank you to James for being our musician this morning, both as the guest and as the music director. Know that we just deeply appreciate and celebrate you, James. Also, a big thank you to Travis Smith, our audio technician, who does a wonderful job keeping us lined up technologically through our Audibles expression known as our Sunday service. A big thank you also to Robert Hensley, our social media expert and administrative assistant and Facebook guru and Zoom guru. Thank you, Robert, for all that you do to support us and keep us moving here at CSL-LA. Just want to know that you're acknowledged and appreciated. Want to let you know that our Wednesday morning meditation continues each Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. You can get that information through our through our website, csl-la.org. So feel free to check us out there and or the app in the App Store, which is Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. You can also find past meditations there, as well as past messages, as well as some spiritual mind treatments and other information. I'd like to let you know we have some practitioners available. If you'd like to connect with them, you can find their information on those various sources as well. And also we have a weekly e-newsletter that goes out on the first part of the week. So if you're not receiving that, I would like to, please watch out for that. And you can sign up for that on our website as well. Also, each morning at 7:30 a.m., I send out a new thought for the day text. Hope you're enjoying those. Those go out there every morning at 7:30. And if you would like to add someone to that, you can reach out to us and let us know about that. I'm excited to share with you that next Sunday morning, my conversations continue. We're continuing with the one and only beloved Dr. Sue Rubin. So please make sure to avail yourself of being here next Sunday morning with Dr. Sue Rubin and myself as we have a very, very, very fun conversation in regards to metaphysics and life itself. And we've got a big 4th of July program planned for you as well. And then any other events that may be taking place, watch out on our social media sites and we will keep you up to date on that. We're now going to have our conscious giving, which is the opportunity for each individual to support us financially. And I'm going to put that information on the screen, and we will go through our conscious giving and the ways to do that. And following that, James will take us through a song called Love is My Decision. At the end of that song, I will take us through a closing meditation and bid our adieus for the day. And so we will now do our conscious giving. You look on the screen, you'll see the ways to do that, which are you can go to our website, which is CSL. You can keep playing, James, and we'll do that. Go to our website, which is csl-la.org, and click on Donate. You can go to the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and click on the upper left bar. So I'll take you to that. Or send us a check. Our address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. If you have any questions on that or you'd like to handle it privately, you can call me at 963-1613. Thank you for all of you participating in Conscious Giving and being here this morning. James will take us through our Conscious Giving song as we all take a moment to do that, James.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision, right here, right now.
And so, James, I'm going to invite you to keep playing the guitar portion of that. And as we close today, we do so in a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to be aware of the blessings that have been bestowed upon us by our Father and Father figure. Remembering that gratitude, it has a way of changing our perspective. It leaves us open to receive the blessings that exist. And so the blessing today is the opportunity to create a new perspective. And to honor that part of the co-creative process of life. And so I affirm for each one of us today a new embracing of the balance of the masculine and the feminine. And being grateful for the ability to do that. While always letting love be our decision. For here we